Yeah. Thurston Howard. Yeah, I earned my motherfucking position. Yeah, I fought for my motherfucking slot time. Salute me proper with 2 L's up, 2 L's up, 2 L's up. And if you locked up, put your 2 L's up, 2 L's up, 2 L's up. I'm the low-life general, past and present. Big low with the Mac 11 to match the denim. Master denim, madam met 'em when we ran through Rentham.
So, originally, what part of Brooklyn are you from?
I'm from Flatbush, originally. I lived in 177 Martin Street between Bedford and Rogers. Okay. I was there, you know, my mom's was the second Spanish lady on the block to cop a house there because it was all white. You know, my mother, she studies law in the law firms, and her, my aunt, she was a New York City cop. That's the only reason they was able to get houses back then on Martins. Then in '77, the famous blackout came out, and Flatbush was destroyed. Sears on Bedford was destroyed. What people don't know, Flatbush back then was like Madison and Fifth Avenue. You know, you and I, we couldn't even buy a pair of shoes on Flatbush. People don't know that, you know. And then they either went South Brooklyn or out east or Mount Vernon and up, you know. But that's what I remember Flatbush as, you know.
So in general, you know, as you said, the second Spanish family to move onto the block. What was your experience like as a kid growing up in that environment?
You do get treated different because you're the only one. And but I didn't let that bother me. You know, by second grade, I used to fight a lot. You know, and then my mother was like, you know what? I'm gonna take you somewhere where they're gonna whoop your ass all the time. So she took me to the boys club right across the street from Rasmus Hall High School, signed me up, and asked, do y'all have a boxing program? Yeah. She signed me up. She was like, yeah, we're gonna get everybody to beat you up, man. We're gonna fight, we're gonna fight for real. Well, what happened with that was it made me a beast because I was already fighting people. And then now I'm getting medals and trophies and all this to fight now, right? So it didn't go the way she planned, but it kept me disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't so quick to put the hands up. And because she used to hate it. She'd always be late for work because she got to go to school and talk to the principal and myself. And then, you know, then it changed. You know, when after the blackout, it was a big diversity of everybody from the islands came. You know, you see Jamaicans, Trinidad, St. Kitts, St. Croix, St. Lucia, Aruba, you know, like Barbados, Guyana, all different parts of the world started to come, Haitian. And then it was different people. But guess what? I was still the only light-skinned dude around. So still fighting and still this, you know. I went to a junior high school out in Flatbush called Walt Whitman. I was 246. And one day the teacher was writing on the board. And he had like the egg in the nest, you know, bald head on top and just like the horseshoe hair. Somebody made a plane and threw it. And it went straight down the middle of his head while he was writing on the board. I was the first one to laugh. And he came up to me and he said, yeah, you did that? Slap me, right? Slap fire out my face. I was like, So I took my chair and I started hitting him. Bang, 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 bang. Then I dragged him, like, he went out. I dragged him to the window. You know, they got the fire gates on it. So I unclipped it, opened it. I couldn't lift it. I was trying to throw his ass out the window. Well, in doing that, I got into a lot of trouble. First, I went to 2 courts for that. I went to family court because I was, you know, underage. And I had to go to a court here in downtown Brooklyn, Board of Ed. I got a superintendent suspense, and I ended up doing like, I think like 60 or 90 days for that when I was young. And then I had a superintendent suspense, so I couldn't go to school in Brooklyn. And then this is now 1980. And so I went to a school for troublemakers. You know, they used to call them the door back then. 600 schools, rather. And I that's where I met my best friends to this day, Bones Malone and Thurston Howell III. You know, it was funny because our teachers was police officers and corrections officers, you know, and you know how when the bell rings, you go to another class? The bell rang and teachers came to our class. We was never allowed to go in the general population. So I was like, wow, you know, okay. So we was all into graffiti, breakdancing and all that, you know, so like we all knew each other and we became tight. And then we used to come all the way to Brooklyn and do graffiti. And since I was away from Brooklyn, I already knew all the graffiti writers from Brooklyn. So when we used to tear up New Lots Yard, Kingston, Nostrand Ave, you know, we was little, but we was big back then, you know. Then, you know, since me being from Flatbush, I knew all the great legends from Flatbush, you know, TK, TNR, Kai 7 Hoods. I'm one of the original of both, TNR and, what you call it, the 7 Hoods. TNR with TK, that was actually a thug group. It wasn't even, it had nothing to do with graffiti at one time. And then TNR, they became one of the best. And you know, shouts out to all the Flatbush graffiti writers. E-Man, DKE, News 4, Spider, Chucky, his name was Fear 2. That was one of my good friends, but he got killed back then in the 80s too. And now with this low life stuff, how it started was we used to come out the tunnel, it was dirty. And we was like, yo, man, we want to go to the city, this and that. So the first piece of clothing we ever took was Benetton. You know, so we used to hit them downtown Brooklyn by the Archery. Hit them like, they was like, yo, you go get the door buzz, because it was a buzz door back then. And of course, I'm the light when they buzz it, boom. And I'll say, how much is for that? And everybody just boom, 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 boom. Oh, we got to get it from the back. And then, you know, we used to take them down. We didn't start anything new. Boosting always been around. You know, boosting is as old as prostitution. You know, somebody always stole something. So, you know, all we did was, the blueprint was there. You know, it's like how we evolved with technology. We just evolved on the boosting tip, you know, like we was taught, you know, how to take the ills of the streets and make that a game, right? You know, because like the people that we was growing up around ain't the people that we supposed to be growing up around. So we learned, you know, I've hit cribs, you know, stole cars, motorcycles, you know, robberies, you know, a lot of stuff. Like when we used to do graffiti in Kingston and Nostrand Ave, I'd be like, yo, anybody hungry? Yeah. All right, I'll be back. Used to go upstairs, Eastern Parkway, hit a crib real quick, you know, come back down with Heroes for Everybody. Be like, yo, let's go to the movies after this, you know, like everybody, you know, everybody bought a different trade in, you know, but we all, how Low Life started was we all came from humble beginnings, you know, we all had broken families. We didn't have the love and the nurturing that a happy family should have. So we created that. You understand? It's like, all right, you my brother, you my brother, you my brother. And that's why, you know, the love and the loyalty came into that, you know, like, because we knew whoever we put down is not going to betray us. It's not going to rat us out. It's not going to have us set up. You know, like, they're not going to, let me tell you, your friend will shit on you, but your friend will never fuck you over. You understand? So we knew that tightly, and to get down back then, we look at you and we'll say, yo, if he was in the 4 building by himself, would he hold us down? Don't get me wrong, we did get into problems, you know, with other crews and this and that, but that's neither here nor there. You know, they went their way, we went ours. You know, we did get into a lot of beef, but you know, well, over the years it died down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like any other beef, you know. You gotta go out of it, or you continue it to someone down in the ground and the next one's in the cage forever. You know, but we didn't, you know, when you start having children, you start changing your life around. And that's what happened with me. You know, that was the fact that I was going to UB. I was going to University of Buffalo. I dropped out. Dropped out. Why? Because me and the mother of my children, she was going to Canisius College up there in Buffalo. The reason I went to Buffalo is because when I came home, first night, I seen a guy that I helped out inside, and he gave me $5 grand. I'll never forget that. And I was like, yo, you don't have to. He was like, nah, you made life comfortable for me. You know, I was fighting every day, getting thrown in the box every other 30 days. And I was like, but I just only did what you would do for me. He was like, yeah, I feel you on that. He said, this is all I got, but I'm going to hit you up later. I was like, you sure? Yeah, I got that. Somebody gave me an AR-15, and somebody knew I was like the 1911 or 4.5. They gave me that. Lo and behold, not even 2 hours later, I got into a shootout. And I was like, yo, you know what? I need to get out of here. So the next day I went to parole, and I asked, you know, where can't I go? You know, like, they said I can't leave the state. So I was like, can I go to Buffalo? He was like, yeah, you can. You know, I had to go up there to the Fed building and let them take a retina scan of my eye. And they was like, yo, you just, every month, you know, you gotta write us a letter. And I was like, word, that was cool. So I went up there. They wasn't ready for a New York person. But first moment I get up there, I was uneasy, you know, because it's all pale faces. I'm not used to that.
What year was this?
This 93, I believe. Yeah, 93 or 94. I just finished doing a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I didn't come up here with gear. It's starting to get cold. So I was like, where's the mall? I was like, she was like, I'll take you here. I was like, no. I just want to know where it's at so I can just look around. So she was like, you're not going to start trouble, right? Nah, I'm not. So I looked, and I told her, I said, I'm going to give it 2 weeks to see if I get a job. If not, I got to go back to the city. On the very last day, I got a call, and I got a job. It was at a Delta Sonic detailing cars. So I was like, oh, okay, good. So then I signed up for school. I went. Everything was going good. And I started looking, I'm like, you know, the game is up here, but the game ain't what it is in New York. Then come to find out, you know, like you ask about certain people, they're like, oh yeah, you know, he said he got chased out of New York City, that's why he's up here. Or this one ran away from New York City beefs, and that's why he's up here. And I'm like, so I ain't let nobody know I was from New York, but they knew. Because I had 6 fronts on top, 4 on the bottom. You know, they was like, yo, you could only be from the city. And then, you know, like, I asked them, like, yo, where's a good place to get soda? And they don't call soda, they call it pop. And then right away, I knew, I was like, damn, I don't talk like that. Yeah. So I met a guy from the job, and his name was Terrence. And I was like, yo, you from up here? Yeah, you got to show me how things is up here. So he took me home, and he was like, yo, I need you to meet my moms. I was like, wow, what's up? You'll see when you get home. All right, so we go, we meet his moms. His mom's is from New York City. So she was like, all right, you know, because I didn't use my government name up there, and I didn't use my righteous name. I used another, my name is Rakim Haran Allah up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, you know what? I'm not using my government. I'm going to use it. So, you know, because I didn't know how it was going to go. And so I couldn't find out, you know, like, the prices of drugs up there was so expensive. I was like, damn. I said, yo, I could get that for $700 down there. And you guys selling it for $14. That's double the money, right? So I was like, I was calling back home to the dudes that was taking down drugs. I was like, yo, I think we could get that shit off. He was like, yeah. Send it up, send somebody on a Greyhound to come up, make money that way. What's big up there was telemarketing. But what they did was, back then, was they used to get the money sent to their house. So, like, I didn't believe my friend. You know, he told me, he was like, yo, I know a guy, he got money this tall in the closet. I said, you're lying. He was like, yo, for real. So I was like, who do you trust over here? Right? And I was like, yo, who do you trust that won't run? Right? So I sat them down and I was like, let's go for a ride. Go rob that kid right there. Let me see how they handle it. So they did it, no problem. I was like, oh, okay, they got that little tiger in them. So I was like, all right, now we're gonna go on a mission. I never told them before what we was gonna do. I said, listen, just hold me down and don't bust at nobody. All right, we're gonna use 2 cars. One is gonna be the getaway, the other one's gonna be away from that. And you know, like, I think about all that now. I'm like, damn, I did a lot of crazy shit. But
so at this time, what was like the status of Low Lives at that point? This was around 94, 95.
It was already established. Like we started boosting polo since '84. You know, me, Beck, has Disco, his cousin G Money. You know, that's Marcus Garvey Village guys I'm talking about. You know, at St. John's Place, they had G George. He came there and he started up with Big Boo, Frankie Boo, you know, all the originals, like A.V. Carvel, you know, like they had their own fashion too. We was 2 separate crews, and like in '88, we was like, you know what, instead of just trying to get at each other, let's join, and that's how it became being what it was. In '88, that's when we collaborated. But, you know, we was doing different things. You know, a lot of us, our guards, you know, God started the thing. We all, like, had different traits, you know. None of us sold drugs, though, you know. We did do robberies. We did run up against other crews, you know, whether it be via a beef over a girl or a beef on a train, you know, but those didn't last too long, you know.
A lot of people have asked, you know, what was the relationship like between Low Lives and D-Seps? D-Seps, I think, started just a little bit before y'all.
No, around the same time. D-Seps is mostly from Brownsville too. So the people that wasn't around would think that we had beef.
Right.
We didn't.
Okay.
That's, you know, from the original D-Seps and the original Low Lives, nah. Later on, yeah, they did have confrontations, but they were younger guys, you know. When somebody's trying to make a bone, they're going to try to eat whoever's eating, you know. But then that got squashed down because we was like, yo, we're from the same hood. Why would you do that?
Right.
You know? And then a lot of beefs that people talk about, they didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, when me, I belong to the nation of gods and earth. Anytime they ever question anything, I always tell them, yo, listen, just anything with Low Lives, come ask me. And the elders never had a problem with that. You know, like if something went down, they would have a meeting, we'll talk. Of course, it get resolved right there and then, you know. Like, I don't showboat. I don't say I'm a general. I don't label myself. You know why? Because, like, what I noticed, you know, first of all, there's no leader in Low Lives. And there's no such thing as I used to be a Low Life. Once you're a Low Life, it's always forever. You know, and how the name came to be was one day we went to go get Vic, you know, Big Vic Low. That's Thurston Howe. And a girl was with him at the time, and he was like, yo, I'm going out, I gotta go boost him. So she was like, oh, you a fucking low life, you know, but she meant the L-O-W.
Right.
And he said, you know, that's fucking right, because look, this is P-O-L-O, yeah, L-O lives. You got it right. And that's how the name came to be, yeah?
Is there, excuse me, is there a situation that would get somebody kicked out of the crew? Like you say, it's for life.
Yeah, you know, of course, like violations, you know, you can't, you know, we have bylaws. So if you cross one of them, yeah, you have to sit down at a table and explain yourself, you know, why you violate this, you know. The laws are too long to go through right now, but yeah, there is a set of laws. The reason we put forth the laws because we have chapters all over the world. You know, we have Japan, we have Australia, we have New Zealand, we have Madrid, Spain. Well, more in Spain now, you know, not just in Madrid. Germany, England, you know, the West Coast, Canada, you know, all up and down the East Coast. You know, we're starting to have it in Texas now. You know, there's people in Mexico now that messes with us. You know, but now it's a positive for us. You know, to be reckoned with. We always ask, well, what do you got to bring to the table? You know, we're not a gang. We've never been a gang. You know, we started off as a crew. You know, because we have no rank. There's nobody with a rank. So, you know, we're all equal. But that's how we started it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we came, that's what made us become a family. You know, we all came from the same thing. So why would anybody be above a next person? You know?
So when did you first start seeing like it was starting to take shape outside of New York City?
Well, I have to give thanks to Thurston Howe. You know, he was traveling with his music, and he was exposing people to it. You know, he was like, you know, it's a movement. You know, and Rudy Lo with his music. You know, it's a lot of people who in the music industry that also put it out there. You see, Just Blaze is a low life. You know, it's a X.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like it's a lot of people in, you know, when you ask about Polo or Low Lives, or if you start talking about Polo, a rap artist would be like, well, do you know Low Lives?
Right.
And you know, like, because we dressed different, we was known in all the clubs, you know, so they'd be like, you know, because they used to start off DJ, you know, oh, I see that crew with the Polo, and then somebody would go correct them, no, this is Low Lives. And then, you know, we even changed the music industry, you know, because they started dressing like us, also like a booster, putting on knapsacks. If you remember all the videos in the 80s and 90s, everybody wanted to dress like a booster. So, you know, for people to come out now and say they the one that changed the game, no, prove it. They can't prove it, you know what I mean? Like, to me, I think we're the only crew, you know, I'm not even trying to talk high about ourselves, but we're the only crew that did it in the past, the present, and we still evolving to the future. You understand? Like, everybody got a, well, I did this story. No, we can tell you I'm doing this now. You know, yeah, we started as a negative force, but now we're so positive that, you know, for Ralph Lauren to call Thurston Howe to do a Snow Beach shoot, that's big, you know. He always knew about us because, you know, like when he used to put out his news medias in the 80s saying that he didn't make his clothing line for the poorer districts. The same way Timberland said the same thing in the 80s. And, you know, that's what made it us take it more. You know, like if he was to ask any lowlight that been doing it that's been doing it, you know, like from the start, I have to say, every individual took more than $3 million worth of clothes. You know, because like, it had to be such an influence that, look, you know, this is the newer crown. This ain't the crowns from back then. But for them to put back out something 25 years later, what's that telling you? You know, we're not only moving people, we're moving industries. You understand? You know, for fashion to do that, that's never been done. Or what crew ever influenced that? And then we have our own clothing line now, Low Lives, you know? Who can do that, you know? And then it's putting so much pressure on Ralph and his crew that they had to reintroduce their old line back again to compete, you know, because his daughter, she's in charge of it now, but she knows about us, you know. It's a lot of, it's big in the industry. It's big. It's big. We touch a lot of bases.
So you mentioned Ralph Lauren. I know originally there was Ralphie's Kids.
Yeah. There was Ralphie's Kids, USA. There was a bunch of crews, and those are the crews that got together to become Low
I mean, you got into some of it already as far as the impact that the movement's had on hip hop and the world. What would you say is the most significant one?
That we made it a brand. You know, we did it no different from Ralph. You know, Ralph Lauren, he came into the industry, and I'm gonna quote his words how he did it. He said, "You go in, you learn it, learn the rules, bend them, then break them and create your own." That's what we did.
Yeah. Thurston Howard. Yeah, I earned my motherfucking position. Yeah, I fought for my motherfucking slot time. Salute me proper with 2 L's up, 2 L's up, 2 L's up.